Greetings. My name is Ed Turlington Jr. I'm a disabled veteran and farmer on the Oklahoma side of the border, 4 miles from where Oklahoma, Missouri, and Arkansas meet. 4 years ago in Delaware County, Oklahoma, I shot in self-defense a violent drug dealer who has a string of convictions, including felonies, just over the border within 30 miles of here in Arkansas and Missouri. However, when this multiple felon comes to Oklahoma to commit crimes, he's not only immune from prosecution, he's actively protected by the Delaware County Sheriff and Undersheriff. The purpose of this video is to inform you why that is. In our most recent video, which was the first in this series, we saw the wound nurse's determination that the bullet traveled from the front of the drug dealer's thigh toward the rear, and we've seen the sheriff's photographs of the wound which clearly showed this. Remember, the drug dealer stated I shot him in the back of his leg as he was retreating. In the last video, we also went over the events leading to the shooting, which clearly gave probable cause to any witness of those events that a crime was being committed. Finally, we asked, why would the sheriff form his investigation around a predetermined outcome in order to protect a well-known felon? Many of you in Ottawa and Delaware counties have already figured this out. The multiple felon I shot was a police informant. I learned this within an hour of my arrest in the jail cell, and it was confirmed within a day of my release to the jail. The sheriff had no idea who I was, and the undersheriff had no idea who I was. Neither of them are from around here. In fact, neither of them are even from Oklahoma. In addition, I left in the 80s to join the military. The undersheriff knew what his informant did for a living, which was sell drugs, and he assumed I was one of his informant's clients, and the shooting was over a drug deal gone bad. He did not know that I'm a former law enforcement officer, a military retiree, and a certified private investigator. Rural law enforcement agencies, which often don't have the funding necessary to properly investigate crimes, have increasingly relied on the testimony of informants over the last several decades. So much so that an informal system has developed of law enforcement agencies taking it easy on, or even protecting informants, and in return the informants telling the law enforcement agencies what they need to secure convictions. Best-selling author and attorney John Grisham wrote a nonfiction book titled An Innocent Man about rural Oklahoma cops doing exactly this, and it resulted in one man on death row before DNA evidence cleared him. In my case, the prosecutor is basing his position on this drug dealer's testimony and on a fundamental misunderstanding of the pictures of the wounds that are linked below that show the exact opposite of what the prosecutor believes. More importantly, it's obvious that the drug dealer that I shot was being protected by law enforcement throughout the investigation. Born and raised in Boston. In Boston, not only do you have to get a government permit to own a firearm, you also have the legal duty to flee if attacked. If I can explain these, because this is so far removed from the way we think in the South or in the Bible Belt. It's hard for people to comprehend. But the first one, owning a firearm, it's not just you need the government's permission to buy a firearm at the gun store. In order to legally possess any firearm of any sort, you have to get permission from the government. For example, if your grandfather died and willed you his guns, you would not be able to take possession of those guns without first obtaining a permit from the government. The second one is even harder for people like us to understand. It's called the duty to flee. If you're attacked, you don't have the right to fight back. You have the legal duty to try to get away from that person. And that includes if that person is invading your home. You can have someone break into your home at night armed, and you're in there with your family, and if somehow you did get a permit from the government to own a firearm, you cannot fire, you can't shoot that person, you can't fight back to that person, you can't do anything to that person. You have the legal responsibility to leave your home with your family and call the police and let them sort it out. I don't know if my prosecutor believes that these are good laws or bad laws, but I know he's a New England Democrat, and where he comes from, it is illegal to defend yourself without first attempting to flee the situation. So you can imagine him hearing a situation where a veteran, which he's not, and a local farmer catches a bunch of people cooking drugs, trespassing on his family farm, setting a fire. They have a fire set there, and then they abandon the fire. And all this is not a matter of contention. It's in these guys admitted to doing these things. Okay, and this person has the gall to execute Oklahoma statutes on citizens' arrest, and they arrest them. The prosecutor is not a country boy. He doesn't hunt, and there are not enough shootings in Delaware County to make any prosecutor an expert on wounds, even if he was the prosecutor in every shooting. In closing, if you believe in the right to make a citizen's arrest, if you can tell from the sheriff's pictures below that the wound in the front of the drug dealer's leg is obviously the entry wound, if you're tired of government officials protecting criminals instead of citizens, please call the prosecutor in this case at the below number and explain it to him and tell him to immediately drop the case. Please share this video with everyone you know in Ottawa and Delaware counties. Discuss it with them and remember this when it's time to vote for district attorney. In the next video, I will show you how the Delaware County Sheriff and Undersheriff framed their investigation. The first video told you what the shooting, how it went down. The second one, I explained why they decided to form their investigation around the predetermined outcome. What you're supposed to do is investigate, then you form your narrative or storyline around the facts you've discovered. That didn't happen here. And the third one, this next video is going to be specifically on the articles that came out the day after the shooting. Sheriff Harlan Moore lied and he misled to the public. He totally misrepresented what went down. He portrayed a false image of me, and after that video, I'll get into the investigation that will keep these two from ever being law enforcement officers again. They'll never be reelected. They'll be lucky to get a job as a greeter at Walmart when the investigation video comes out. It's unbelievable. Not that there's dirty cops out there, but they're so bold that they did these things on the record, and I can actually prove it to you. I appreciate your prayers for my family. God bless, and I'll try to have another video for you every 48 hours or so for the next several months, or until charges are dropped. But there's more enough involved in this entire situation to keep me busy doing that and to keep you informed. And thank you.